The following is a list of Moors who have been kidnapped and are being held for a demand of income. The demand of income is being made against the family as well as through fraudulent submissions of documents alleging that they are caring for the people in some sort of long-term care fashion. These Moors have been kidnapped literally off the street by employees of various corporations that are guised as counties, cities, towns, township, boroughs. These names that we have all been mentally conditioned to believe are government are not. They are exactly what they say they are. They are municipal corporations, and as such, they, if you do the research, you will find that they are foreign corporations on American soil. Therefore, they do not have standing nor jurisdiction to make a demand of income or even bring a claim against the Aboriginal indigenous people or any people on American soil, this making their actions criminal. However, as Moors, we must bring these crimes to the forefront via civil complaints against these unalienable constitutional treaty-secured rights of the people, Aboriginal indigenous Moors of this land. If the municipal corporation has been provided, then we reference that along with the union state. If we don't have the municipal corporation where the employee works that actually did the kidnapping, then we just reference the union state that is bound and obligated to protect the people from foreign and domestic invasion. This list comprises Moors who have been kidnapped and are being held hostage by employees of various corporations on American soil, which is a violation of the American Constitution 1791, and it is a treaty violation, being that we are talking about Moorish Americans, Aboriginal indigenous to this land, who have been kidnapped by employees of foreign corporation on American soil. This making this an international issue because you have two nations with one nation warring against another. Therefore, this is an international issue. If you have a family member near or far within your immediate family or one of the family that you know and you would like them added to this list, please send an email to mhhseyeswideopen@gmail.com. In the subject line, put Kidnap Moor, and please provide us with their free national appellation, the municipal corporation that the employee is operating through that kidnapped them, along with the union state that this corporation is in purview to. So with that, we start out with our sister RVBey, kidnapped through a joint venture between Mantis Corporation and Shelby Corporation under the purview of Tennessee, Daoud Il under the purview of Arkansas, Amir Moslemin Il Kusu Ra Kushbey under the purview of Missouri, Asar Patah Amin Ra Bey under the purview of Ohio, Jeremy Paler Il, Terry Thorne Bey, J. Mikhail Brooks Bey, Joseph Kanaday Il, Kush Amir Bunch Il, Emmanuel Billings Bey, Yassin Khalik Alamin Il, Michael Curry Bey, all under the purview of North Carolina, Noble Crisco Il under the purview of New Jersey, Messiah Aziz Il and Crystal Il, both kidnapped through a joint venture between Mercer Corporation, Freehold Corporation, and Trenton Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. We're still waiting on an update regarding baby Patricia Bey, kidnapped by Atlantic Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. Eldridge Terran Fisher Il, Marquis Sevion Il under the purview of Indiana. Solomon Il Bey, and Mumi Abube under the purview of Texas, William Barrett Ill under the purview of Virginia, Bomani Abidwil Ill, kidnapped by Chesapeake Corporation under the purview of Virginia, Relavant under the purview of West Virginia, Thomas Lee Bay under the purview of California, Victor Eduardo Aguaye Juarez Ill, kidnapped by Harlem Corporation under the purview of Georgia, Natural Tahuti Ill, kidnapped by Benner Corporation under the purview of Pennsylvania, Rennie Bay, kidnapped by Hamilton Corporation under the purview of, Hamilton, Ontario Corporation under the purview, well, actually, it's Hamilton Corporation. The state would be Ontario, and that's that would be a union state, and it's on American soil that is referenced as Canada. And last but not least, Brian George Mills Bay, kidnapped by the employees working through Glades Corporation under the purview of Florida. Thank you very much. All right, Islam, and welcome to MHHS, Eyes Wide Open. This is your host, Anita L., along with my co-host, Mizraim Aleph L.
Peace and love, Annie. Peace and love, Morris. It is definitely good to be back. And these are crazy times, but it's definitely good to be back.
Right. RVBey.
Islam, peace, and much love to everyone.
And Cujo Agua L.
Islam, peace and love to all the Moors.
All right.
All right. Islam. Before we get started, I just want to let our internet listeners know that the chat room is open, and also to send a shout out to our families listening around the world near the corporate construct known as Great Britain, South Africa, Japan, the Netherlands, Islam Brother Albacet, let's see, the Philippines, I might have said that already, the family listening near corporate construct known as Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Puerto Rico, Islam to the family listening near the corporate construct known as Panama, Cuba, Venezuela, Brazil, and family that we have yet to connect with. Thank you so much for listening. Big shout out to our listeners who call in, our callers calling in every week, filling on the phone lines before the broadcast begins. Thank you so much for joining, sharing, lending your energy as we uplift fallen humanity together. Let's see. Today's broadcast, I was having a hard time getting with the program today, but I was able to draft something up, and it's entitled, it's entitled Clearing Up Information, and we have got to get back to critical thinking. Critical thinking is very important in this day where there has been a flooding of information, and not all of it correct and relevant to Moors as it relates to nationality. There's nothing wrong with studying all information. However, if your foundation is not solid in the American Constitution 1791, you will find yourself being duped, is the order of the day. And that is so relevant now with everything that is going on. it's like people don't know what to believe at all. People who appear to be sincere turn out not to be sincere. People who you thought were not sincere turns out to be sincere.
Yeah.
You don't know what to believe or and you know what? That might be a good thing, because I was getting ready to say you don't know who to follow. But, hey, this is not about following anyone. So I guess this is really about going back in and listening to your own intuition, because if you're following somebody, you just might get led, down the drain. So the other thing that I wanted to do is, in addition to so much information being let loose and all the things that's happening, like not every day, but like every hour of the day.
Oh, yeah. If you don't have a strong foundation, you get really, if you don't have a strong foundation of information, you can really get messed up today. You can really get lost, like they say, lost in the sauce, or you can become very, very stable. Yeah,
and you know what? Chris Rock.
Would you take? Chris wanted to add something to that.
No, I said, quick story. One of the Moors on the weekend was telling us a story about his mom not wanting to get the info. And, you know what I mean? Killing her. Then one day his mom comes to him and tells him that her friend had a dream of a man that came to her in her dream telling her that she's not Christian. So she had the dream. She had the dream again, and the brother's mother told the lady, like maybe a month, well, this is a month after when she had the second dream or something like that, or weeks or whatever. But in the meantime, the lady was telling her, well, that's odd, because that sounds like my son or whatever, trying to tell me that I'm a Moor and all this type of stuff and blah, 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 blah. I'm Christian and, he's telling me I'm not that and all that. Well, if the guy comes again, ask him who he is. Lady had the dream again. Ask the man. Well, I think I'm Christian, but who are you? The man said, Noble Drew.
Wow.
Wow.
And keep in mind, she's not studying Moorish science. She has nothing to do with Moors. She's just a friend of one of the Moors' mom, who's not trying to hear what he's saying. But her good friend had a dream about Noble Drew Ali telling her that she's not Christian.
The dream, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. She better write it then. Breathe deep.
And you know what? I just realized something. When you said, not Christian, whether it be told in the dream or told straight out, I realized that has to be such a breakdown for people to really inner, outer, and understand why and what that means. You know what I mean? Like they think you're attacking their Jesus or attacking their religious choice, and they have no idea. Well, I know we're going to get into it, so no idea what is being said when that's said, and they have no reading or never looked at what brought this whole thing here for these modern Europeans to be here supposedly in peace, with the international document that says, okay, this is between Moors and Christian powers. Didn't say Christian nation, Christian powers. They don't know the distinction between what you just said, a Christian. They think you're attacking their religious choice and your blasphemy on you, and you're blaspheming Yahshua, that they call Jesus. That's what they think. So it's like a whole lesson or something, because that's what keeps them tied in that space where they cannot have ears to hear or eyes to see. And so on.
All right, it's long. Now, Ross, I got your message, and I was able to upload that recording. Do you still want me to play it, or there's just so much stuff to talk about? There
is so much stuff to talk about. It's only 4 minutes. We could hold that out because it's such a, Cujo, I found out that you did a book on the prophecies coming true in these days. And as far as that one with the modern European that you're talking about, Anna E. that admitted that this is not their land. Now, that's direct hit on where Prophet Noble Jolie said, listen, the Europeans are going to tell the truth. I've never seen such a succinct truth as what this modern European said. And I guess everybody's already really heard it. It's like everywhere. Hell, I'm getting posted up on RVBey because it's so strong. But it requires, it itself could be an entire broadcast to discuss. Like, you know what I mean? So I hear what you're saying, and I think people are saturated with that. They know what this modern European said, and but it's powerful. Like, let me just say this. And who just told me a story about, something that he experienced. And similarly, myself, with that recording right there, I went to visit someone, see someone about a meeting about some other stuff, and they were long-term friends and family. And then I realized, oh, shoot, I've got this recording on my phone. And what happened was when I came to see them, I could see they're reaching out, yearning and wanting to, like everyone knows something's wrong. Everyone knows something's not quite right, however they assimilate it. And you, myself, others on this slide and others everywhere have been telling people about this right information regarding nationality, et cetera, like that, and the things that have been said. And then when you sit and you see it unfold right before your eyes. And then, so when I came in, I saw the yearning, because everyone knows something's wrong. And I remember they heard you said this or someone said that, and then you whip out that 4 minutes, only 4 minute thing where the European told the truth and said, look, this isn't our land. And until we get that straight, he uses terms like give it back. You can't really give it back in the mind, because all of this is mental. And so I whipped it out and I played it. And everybody's like a pin drop. Because all of a sudden it's like, and maybe not in this case with them, I'm not going to speak for how other people were feeling internally, but it's like everything that we've said that sets the ground floor. So this is what I mean about foundation. If you don't have the foundation, and that's why the prophet said, I bought you something you can't tear down. Right, because if you're standing on it, you're standing on that foundation that's strong. And when all of these things are happening now, you're enthused about it. You're not lost about it. You know what I mean? You have a different view. So when I played it, you could see it's like, oh shoot. And so everything that we've said now is coming to fruition. However, to others, not to others, and to ourselves too, for having these experiences. In fact, they become fuel for you. However, it's not all lost. And I know you're going to be bringing some stuff in. It's not all lost because this is me and Mantis was just talking, this is the paradigm shift y'all want to talk about. This is, the changes. This is your force to make changes. This is it. It's always been there. And I don't want to, belabor on this, but there's all kinds of things people are saying, like, this is the Ms. we were just talking, and you say, yeah, this is the melting pot. Looks like it's boiled over, or melted down. Cream comes in, no denying it. No denying these things unless you are really brain dead. And since there has been, since like zombie-like, I know the sister had mentioned that once, that we're the walking, people are the walking dead for real. But So I just wanted to say, so this tape that you're talking about, we don't really have to play it because there's so much more to share, but maybe we could play it at the end of the broadcast or something, because maybe, just maybe somebody hasn't heard it. But it just, even though it's powerful in what it says, for those who penetrate with it, guess what? It's just the beginning. If you're just penetrating with it, or if it does something to you, that's the shift for you. And I wanted to say that no matter what it looks like, the future is for institutions of learning for Moors. That's it, and that's all. That's what it is. It's I'll be on the floor.
Well, all right.
That's it. That's all it can be.
Well, all right. So, well, with that said, we still can play it because, even though, I'm going to say chances of somebody not having heard it may be slim, but then again, it might not be.
And you know what? Because the way the brother breaks it down, the European son breaks it down, he even says, listen, if a 7-year-old can get this, what's wrong with you?
Right.
I just do it to you. Mm-hmm.
There's just so much to talk about. But you know what? I would like to, I think it would be great to play it. But but before we play that, I just want to say this. For people who are watching what's going on with Trump, there is no need whatsoever. If you know who you are, there's no need for anybody to be afraid at all.
Yeah.
Really, there's no need for us to be concerned. People, not just Moors. What's happening right now, it's not just for Moors, it's for everybody. Because everybody point where they don't know nothing. I don't care what alphabet you got after your name, your appellation, whatever. I don't care what little alphabet you have after that. You still don't know that, or I should say, too many people don't know that this land is the people reign supreme. The people, not the public servants. So if the only reason Trump can sit in that seat, and it ain't just him, because me personally, I believe he's just the scapegoat.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, because everybody knows him for the type of person to always put his foot in his mouth. So why not put him in his seat and give him some stuff to say that's so obviously foot in mouth stuff? Because people who sit in that seat, they have no power. Really, they have no power whatsoever. The only thing they can do is do what they're told to do by others around them. The key here is that I don't care if you're sitting in that seat or you are the others around the person sitting in that seat. The people are the ones who are supposed to be telling the public servants what to do. And what's really, really misland, this is no democracy, this is no mobocracy. This land is guaranteed a Republican form of government. That's Article 4, Section 4 of the American Constitution. Article 4, Section 4 says that you can choose to have someone represent you, and if you choose not to, you can present yourself. That's what it means. It means that it's a choice. It's not something that you have to do, and it's not something that got to be rammed down your throat. But it is something that you must know. Because if you don't know it, then you'll have public servants telling you what you can and cannot do. This, what I'm saying, is not just for Moor. It is for anyone on American, or I should say Moroccan soil, referred to today as America. All right? So I just want to say that because people need to think, because a lot of people are living in a box. The only way you're going to get out is if you think your way out. So you need to start thinking, because that's the only way you're going to get out. Start following, start thinking, start moving for yourself based on your intuition. So I just wanted to get that out. And so with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this recording, and then we're going to talk about that and whatever else. All right?
Yeah.
What's good, y'all? It's called, I've been very, very, very frustrated with Europeans, with people that look like me and who share an ancestral lineage with me. My primary frustration is we've been so severely miseducated, we don't know how to think. And we've been stripped of our ability to use logic and reason. Also, we sit on a pedestal of slavery and colonization, and we sit so high, even those of us who are busting our ass all day, every day, working nonstop, we sit so high on a pedestal of slavery that we can't even see the world for what it truly is. And if we had the gun to our head or the threat of rape at our doorstep every day, we would feel the same sense of urgency that the rest of the world feels, or that colonized peoples who are confined to these artificial borders of the United States feel. So let's be very clear. This land is not the Europeans. It never has been. It never will be. What's going down in Standing Rock, what's going down with this new administration, is a continuation of 600 years of colonial theft. And I think there's only one example I can think of that really illustrates this. I was talking to a 7-year-old in my family a couple weeks ago, and we were actually talking about this very thing, about stealing land from the indigenous people. And the 7-year-old goes, nobody's taking my land, European kid, by the way, nobody's taking my land, I got a gun. I said, you ain't got no gun. He said, I got a 45. I said, you don't have a 45. He said, no, I got a Nerf gun. I said, okay, let me break this down for you then. Let's say little Ricky, 2 houses down, comes and steals your Nerf gun. Is that his Nerf gun? He was like, no, it's my Nerf gun. He stole that from me. I was like, word. Well, it's his now, so deal with it. Ricky grows up, has a kid, and gives that Nerf gun to that kid. Now, is it that kid's Nerf gun? He said, no, it's still my Nerf gun. He took it from me. I said, he didn't take it from you. His dad did. He's only known that Nerf gun was his whole life. How could you take that back from him? He's like, nah, it's mine. I want it back. I said, okay, fine. Let's play this out a little bit longer. So little Ricky's kid has a kid when he gets older, and he gives him that Nerf gun. Is it still your Nerf gun? He was like, yeah, it's always been my Nerf gun. Just because he passed it along to a different guy doesn't mean that it's not mine. I said, well, then perfect. This isn't our land. It never has been. It never will be. And until we return it, any sort of solidarity that we feel with black and indigenous people is a fucking joke. Unless you're willing to give back what you never earned, you are a opportunist and a liar. And if you are not even willing to admit that this isn't ours in the first place, you're a fool. And I'm not saying this, maybe I'm saying this because I'm fucking frustrated. And I am, because you guys are better than this. If a 7-year-old can figure out this logic, then y'all can figure this out. And I want more for you. I believe that we have the ability to fucking think. We have the ability to say, oh shit, okay, yeah, it's getting hot out here. It's getting very, very hot. There's clearly something wrong. Oh, wait, I'm in the middle of this? Oh, maybe I have some sort of responsibility here. Maybe I have some sort of responsibility. Oh, literally every article of clothing I have, literally every piece of food I eat is stolen? Damn. And the people who are mining these raw materials, who are sowing these goods, who are harvesting these foods, they're not even able to eat these foods? They're not even able to wear clothes or have shoes? You got to be kidding me, man. None of you are that selfish. I hope none of you are that selfish, man. None of this shit is ours. We got to give it back. I mean, I was taught that my whole life. How was I raised in a Christian society that taught me thou shalt not steal, and yet everything we have is stolen, and we're unwilling to give it back? And I understand you said I bought this, I worked hard my whole life to buy this. Sure, you might have worked your entire life. You might have busted your ass. I know I busted my ass to the point that my body has failed me time and time again. What I do also know is that I'm driving a car right now, and as hard as I worked for the car that I drive in, I did not mine any of the raw materials to make this car. I didn't slave away on a rubber plantation so that I could have these wheels, right? And even if I worked in a factory in the U.S., which I've worked in warehouses, but even if I worked in a factory, I got a union job with a pension, with yada yada, health insurance, all these other amenities. I might be doing backbreaking work, but it's certainly not like those who are slaving away in mines, who are having the threat of rape and murder at their doorstep all day, every day. So I know I sounded frustrated. Most of you usually probably see me more composed. Fuck it. It's urgent. We have to change our ways right now. This world cannot take us exploiting it any longer, and the peoples of this world will not take us doing this any longer. If you want to build with me more, I'm going to be at the station tonight at 7 o'clock. This is January 25th, just in case you watch this on another day, so don't come the next day. But I'll be at the station tonight with my Uhuru Solidarity comrades. We work under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party to build a new and better world that is not rooted in the slavery and oppression of every single person.
All right. Yeah, there you have it.
Well,
right from the horse's mouth.
Hey, you know what? I got to say this. He went deep too. He says, and even this food is mined and farmed on this land. Now, what he just said is what we were saying. It's that the resources, a lot of people go on talking about, I'm going to write a trust. I'm like, we're already entrusted to the earth and the resources of the earth. And he just affirmed that right there. That if you're tied to, this is your ancestral state, not everybody, I got to stop saying that. Just like it's in chapter 47, where is the prophet said in chapter 47, you will gain back your heritage and your estate, all right? And then he described geographically where it is. We're talking the land. That's what you're entrusted to. It has nothing to do with any DEED written anything. And he just affirmed that. I'm like, wow, this is what Aboriginal, indigenous means, the first people. Ooh, man. And then I'm going to add this, and whoa. You sent me a link where it's Peru, I believe, Peru and Venezuela, which are the true American states, all right? Not these little quasi-national sales territories, union states that everybody think is, how they're aligning. Because South America, North America, Central America, and the adjoining islands, and North America includes Kingland, okay? If you look at your map. If you don't know geography, you won't know this. All of that is the ancestral estate. And so they're lining up as well, because that's family. Oh, and Liz, I know this is yours, but not yours, but we discussed this, and then I'm yielding the floor. And the prophets work on the Quran, Circle 7 Holy Quran, which is a very good oracle and guide for all the problems we have today. It says what? And we've said this before. What we are looking at is the uniting of Asia, because the whole planet is Asia. And this European brother that just talked, he said all over the world these people have colonized. These modern Europeans have done and raped and pillaged everyone. And we have said this before. This is their last stand right here on our ancestral estate. What we have to do is take our place amongst the affairs of man. It's really not as bad as I'm telling you, it's not as bad as it looks. Not for all of us, not for many of us. It's not for us, period, if we are in our mind, if we're not in that position of being mentally enslaved. Because taking our place amongst the affairs of man, if you didn't do it yet, the calling is right now. And if you don't, you just won't, and you'll be that's just the way it's going to be. But I just wanted to make a comment about how he mentioned that the resources of the land, and how he mentioned that this has to stop because they've been colonizing across the world, all four corners of the earth, and that we need to recognize that they're kind of like caught. They are falling. They are desperate, right? And so this is their last stand on your ancestral state. You better wake up. It's definitely time. Definitely past time. Islam.
And I just want to say, you said that you were saying that was mine. That's ours. Like, that's information has been made known as far as just the uniting of Asia by force through the will of Allah. That's what we're looking at. And I must say, my mother did say there'll be days like this. Right now, it's crazy because you have the Europeans imploding on themselves, those who have set up shop, colonized, and have quasi-national domicile, boundaries going on paper, shall I say, not naturally, but 4 of those are suing Trump right now. So, like, looking at it, it's over the travel ban. That's what they're saying. So you have Virginia, Massachusetts, New York, and Washington, quasi-national domiciles, right, suing Trump.
Wow.
So this is like really imploding on itself, and we can see this, is what's happening very clearly. But also, it's like on that level, it's a place to be active again, because the right to travel issue is wide open on the international level.
Yes.
This is definitely that time, looking at it for what it is. I mean, right to travel on the international level is wide open. So, you can look at that for what it is. And also, keep in mind, too, the way they promote it, and I'm not vouching for anything, but they're saying it's a Muslim ban when it was specifically a ban on 7, what they're saying are Islamic states. That's what they're saying. So going back to the diversity between the Christian powers and, Moors or, Muslims, etc., it is what it is right now. So I would say that looking at it from that perspective, that's something to activate on the international level. Not that it hasn't been happening. Definitely a great time to acknowledge and address that issue. Again, you were speaking about the land. The European came out and said it himself. That's a prophecy fulfilled. As far as making the European tell the truth, they're telling it. And you have others like Trump who is showing you what Reconquista mode looks like. But I would say, too, never take anything that anybody says on face value. Look at the actions and whatnot, because you have to remember they're promoting this ban in the name of these people being a threat. But just because they say that doesn't make it true. And to this day, I say, the situation with George Bush may be the realest case to prove that, you're not supposed to take everything you hear on face value. And I say that because when he came out and spoke about Mandela and said that he died, right? Now, number one, all right, he didn't die. We know he didn't die at the time that was said. But he also went on to slander, Saddam Hussein by saying he killed all the Mandelas.
All the Mandelas. So if you from the Mandela family, he said Saddam Hussein killed all the Mandelas. Like, what was that?
Killed all the Mandelas, plural. And Mandela wasn't even dead. But he was painting this image of what he wanted or whatever was going on in his mind. this is what he got on the mic and said as a quote president. So you have to remember that you cannot, just take everything on face value. And keep that in mind when you see them say these things about certain people. What's the motive behind that? And we already know.
Those seven places, is it correct that they never did anything that is considered terroristic? So why he choose those?
Yeah. So, you're talking about holy lands, and they're looking at the clock, like I'm telling you, and again, not to be unfair or anything, because it's going to implode on itself. But Trump is trying to go, and I was explaining this on the Brother Supreme show the other night, as well as, Trump has been a conqueror. Like, and when I say that, I don't mean like murder, death, kill type. He hasn't, I don't know what, but he hasn't been in that position, because you have to remember, conquest is also via purchase, and he's been in that arena of real estate and business everywhere and all of these things. So now he just leveled up to where he has certain, access to things that he may not have had access to before. But what his actions have been coming in is causing everybody to get in line and to form, like it's beyond speculation as far as unity, the uniting of Asia, shall I say that? I'm going to say that, the uniting of Asia, because you had Peru and Chile come up and back Mexico, saying that if anything goes down, they're backing Mexico. So you're seeing them they're aligned, like alliances, allegiance, allies. So you're seeing that take place based off of what Trump is doing, because you have to remember, he doesn't have a, quote, political background, but he has that international trade or business or commerce or whatever going on, or had that going on for a while. So he's pro-corporation, which the U.S. is a corporation. And this is what you're seeing, him saying, look, forget it. You know what I mean? This is what time it is. But while he's doing that, there's others who are of their kind, of the quasi corporation, the subsidiaries for quasi national domiciles suing Trump right now. And that's probably only going to grow based off this travel ban thing. So I would say be safe. Travel well, travel safe. Also, just be really careful on the situations you may put yourself in while things are going like this. You know what I mean? Just be very diligent. I wouldn't, no fear. Just be diligent, because I think this is going to be the culmination, or it is the boiling point. But this is going to put the right to travel matter to forever, like, in the end. Like, especially if these quasi-national domiciles win against Trump, like, that's going to be saying something.
Yeah. Because what's happening, man, is they're fighting, like you said, they're imploding on each other. So when you think about the prophecy that there will be blood in the street, we always say, look, just make sure you're not a part of that. You know what I mean? Because they're fighting each other. They're going to be very. In fact, I just got a text. I just want to say this from Brother Matab. He said, look, they're having a tantrum right now because they are, like everyone else, forced to claim their nationality. They're forced to go back to honoring and respecting the republic, which is the Republican form of government. We're not talking about the smoke and mirror screen about I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm a liberal, I'm a right wing, I'm a left wing. All that is bull crap. All of that is smoke and mirrors. That has nothing to do with the law of this land and the political positions and the relationship between the Moors, Christians, and any type of political religion. That's something they created to keep you busy thinking you were doing something when you weren't, because I just want to say that what we're looking at right now, when we really look at this, we're looking at that other prophecy where Prophet Nabil Ali said the Europeans are helping. Why aren't you? This is your problem. And that's just the truth. Because when you look at what some of these modern Europeans who are helping, as he called, or that are fighting, as you said, against them and going against it, all they are really doing is enforcing the Constitution, which is what you and I were supposed to do too, are supposed to do, because the message was Constitution that is for the United States of America, or you will be molested by these other citizens. And that is what has been happening, as has been happening then and still happening now, and it's over. It will never be the same again. The force to make change is in your face. Which way you go is on you. And so there, as we need to understand, their force to respect back the republic, their force to say what their nationality is. Look, what about the real ID? How they can't use a driver's license at the airport anymore, and that's going to be done completely in the next few years, because it's not an identification, never was. We always said that. So they're forced, and they are they're just upset about it. They're just upset about it. Right. They have to return back to their own bloodline, just as you do. And the whole world has to right now. And that's what you're looking at. So lastly, when you look at all the combination of information that all the so-called leaders and consciousness and black consciousness and all this, there is only one that I know of that has ever spoken about the fact that you're not Negro, colored, black. You need to declare your nationality. If you don't do anything else, declare your nationality. That means be clear of it. Before you proclaim which is written, you must be clear of it. But only one in these days that has taught or warned us or guided us or suggested or directed in the line of nationality, because that's what's happening. That's what's on the front burner. It is importante, for real, right now. And so that was the end of the message there. So it's all being exposed. Oh, yeah, it's exposed. Everything that's happening now is an exposure. Just like recently we had all the slander. Remember we had all the slander, against each other. We're still busy doing it. Some people are still busy doing that. But this is real talk. This is real time talk. Put that down and look at what's going.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's funny, they did that and they imploded on themselves.
Yeah.
So, we saw that happen too, but it is what it is. But now this is the thing, and this is the bottom line. Like, what's happening right now is what it always has been about. It's all just boiling down to identity, right?
Yes.
Because you see this happening in airports now, where they're like, if you are from this place and you are a Muslim, because like somebody could come from these banned places if they're a Christian, though. Like, so, yeah, that is technically a Muslim ban, but on Muslims from this specific geographical location, shall I say, earth coordinates. So, yeah, it is targeted directly on Muslims. So, but what you're looking at is still based off of identity. How do they screen that, right? All of these things is about who you are, and what you're about. So all of this playing into traveling tells you, when you look at it, you can see what's coming down the pipe. They already are like, look, the state's driver's license, they got a, quote, Real ID Act to replace that. And they're basically like, look, this is what it is. We're putting everything under the corporation, U.S. So in that essence, they're basically saying if this is a real ID act, then those IDs couldn't have, or they're not really IDs, but those licenses and things like that, they couldn't have been legit if you're saying that this is based off of something real, an identity. And if you talk about real identity, you have to talk about nationality, which is the order of the day, all revolving around the right to travel, though.
Yeah, over land, air, and sea. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so look at how that came around full cipher, like right back. So that's something for Moors to address again more than ever, I would say, right now. Not that it hasn't been, and to beat a dead horse, but from this international perspective, the whole world, and then you got the European Union, trying to make moves, because what Trump is doing is affecting things international. So they're making moves trying to put up, that defense against him in that aspect, in certain aspects, because of the economic thing, and, of European Union, So, I mean, it's just interesting that it's totally about international law right now. It has always been, but everything that's going on is pointing right back to international law. So, I mean, I would sum that up with nationality is definitely the order of the day, and there's allies, as you can see, and then there's adversaries, even amongst themselves. So as they're making these moves, and the different judicial authorities are banning this, quote unquote executive action, that speaks volume.
Yes,
so,
it does.
Yeah.
I yield the floor.
Yeah, I definitely yield the floor, Islam.
What another thing for people to think about, and I know this is like really probably not on a lot of people's radar. This whole, preventing people from traveling based on, allegedly where you're traveling to, and even what type of alleged identification you have, or where you're coming from, where you're going to. People need to recognize that they literally are treating all of the people. I'm saying this because I know there's going to be a lot of confusion with this, but they're literally treating the people as if they are cargo.
Yes.
Cargo.
Mm-hmm.
Because the United States of America, and Great Britain, Japan, South Africa, the Philippines, all of these are corporations. All right? People are moving on the land. They are not going to and from corporations.
That's right.
Right? That's number one. Number two, then they say, well, we need to see your identification. Well, looking for a so-called identification, and it's not identification. What they're looking for is a joinder.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to join you to a corporate construct, and the presumption is that corporate construct owns you as cargo.
Yep.
Therefore, they can dictate where you can go as cargo and where you cannot go as cargo. Now, the only reason that they can get away with this is because silence in giving their servants direction. These people look at Trump. Trump is sitting there defying the American Constitution, all right? He's treating the people like they are cargo. He's treating the master, because the people reign supreme. He's treating the people as though they are servants and he is the master. Meanwhile, he's sitting in a seat and he's receiving income. And the people are silent about this. You know what? I'm going to say this. This is the only, you know what? Trump can do things like that. It ain't just Trump, the Clintons, the Bush boys, you know. They can sit in those seats and they can do those things because it's like the people on this land are the only people gullible enough not to raise up on these public servants and remove them. And then you'll hear them say, and I'm not instigating this, but I'm just saying, I look at my brothers and sisters around the world, they do not have a problem taking a bullet for their children and their children's children today. So what I'm saying is to be in charge. The people are the ones that are supposed to be telling these public servants, you ain't telling me where I can go today, or I will remove you from your seat. Because the only reason you're sitting there is because I choose to allow it. All right? This is the attitude that the people are supposed to have, not just Moors. All the people on this land. And this land is not just for modern Europeans. This land is for everybody. The American Constitution is for the protection of anybody who comes on Moroccan soil, today referred to as America. And so when they say nationality is the order of the day, nationality is absolutely the order of the day. Absolutely the order of the day. And that's why if you look at what they are doing, they always go around, invading people's space, stealing, robbing, murdering. They do this because that is how they remove the people from their nationality, and then they brand them a corporate construct. Because the only way they can take control of the people is if they get the people to say that they are a corporate construct or a fiction. For example, you got people running around talking about, I'm Negro. I mean, the obvious is, I'm black. No, you're not black. And you know what? There was a post. The European daughter. There's a post by the offspring of the European daughter that Michael Jackson hooked up with. That is not Michael Jackson's child. That is the European daughter. That is that European daughter's egg. But isn't this interesting? She says, I consider myself black. She is the original black people. But what is her nationality, really? Where she comes from is not a nationality. There was another post. Post that I saw, and it was, I think I sent it to you guys. It was by the little Cosby girl that played on the little girl played on the Cosby, and she says it was like so hilarious. She says black is a crayon. Now I'm going to ask you once again, what's your nationality?
Yeah. But one thing we want to make clear, we just want to make that distinction clear that all of this is our land, and this government, inclusive of the Constitution and setting it up with the three separate powers, which is legislative, executive, and judicial, that whoever sits in the President of the United States of America only has executive powers, which means they can execute law. They do not have the power to make law, so we need to make it clear. The only reason he's getting away with that is they're calling it policy. People have for generations. Yeah.
Well, here's something else, because here's something else, because, see, we're talking about critical thinking. If there is anybody here, we want to say this, if there is anybody who can find where an executive order is sanctioned in the American Constitution, please tell me. Please show it to me. Please give me a reference, because according to the American Constitution, here's the thing that a lot of people miss. People are so caught up in one. Really, it's like they want to be a corporation. They want to be cargo. They want to be fiction, because they know more about cargo, fiction, corporations than they do about flesh and blood beings. All right? Here's what most people miss, because they're so caught up in wanting to be a corporation, fiction, cargo. The Constitution was written to keep corporations in tight check. That means that the corporations, the things that the corporations on American soil, Moroccan soil, is doing right now is all unconstitutional. Every last bit of it is unconstitutional. And for a CEO of a corporation that is the head only of the executive body of the American government structure to put out an executive order where there is nowhere in the American Constitution that sanctions an executive order, speaks to how sweet the people on Moroccan soil referred to as America really are. Moors and those other citizens together. All right? Together. Because there is, look, the Constitution, it stated right in the Constitution, it's case of Constitution, supreme law of the land. Where in the supreme law of the land does it sanction an executive order? Because 9 and 10 says that if it ain't in here, it's reserved to the people. Not the public servants, the people. So if somebody know where it is, tell me, because right about now, really a long time ago, people should have been raising up on these public servants, because they've been writing executive order after executive order after executive order ever since Lincoln, who had no authority to ever write an executive order, wrote an executive order. But because the people allowed it, they've been writing these fictitious, phony, unconstitutional executive orders, and nobody has questioned it. Right up to...
But they only apply to their corporation. They just got the people tricked into thinking it's
applied to anybody. It doesn't apply to anybody, not even corporations, because if it's not in the Constitution, it can't exist.
That's right. The American National Constitution, and that's why it's nation time. It's nationality time, because that's what I'm saying. This is what these modern Europeans out here that are fighting and imploding, they're enforcing this. Yeah, I yield the floor. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And that's why Drew Ali told the Moors that they got to make their own laws and customs.
Exactly.
It's not going to be nothing for you to say. It's something for you to follow after the Constitution, because trust you're not going to want to follow those statutes and all that when these people start manipulating them.
Yep.
Because remember, all these executive orders are way below constitutional authority.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they're not even referencing the Constitution in the executive orders.
Right. How about that?
No, they're not. They're not. And see, everything that they do has to be sanctioned constitutionally, or guess what? How much case law have we read and referenced? How much is out there that says if it's out of harmony with the American Constitution, it's null and void, as if it never existed. Right? But and then here's the other thing. You got people walking about, they call it marching, walking about and yelling at the top of their lungs because a public servant is issuing unconstitutional orders. Public servant is sanctioning unconstitutional orders against the people. That's treason.
Yeah, in your face.
Why are people walking around setting up? You got this so-called Islamic congressman talking about, well, we're gonna do a rally. We're gonna walk about. We're gonna really put them in fear. We're gonna really put them in that place. We're gonna walk about.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the people they mad at are controlling the boundaries they're walking in. They're like, don't step people into the left. You know what I mean?
We're gonna walk about this 10 square mile. They have allowed us to walk in. That is the dumbest thing. Dumb.
You know what it's kind of like?
What?
I was saying it's kind of like they do the bull runs in Spain when they know they just gonna let the bulls just run down the street and everybody, spectating, but the path is laid out for them, like how they're gonna go. The direction they're gonna go is modified. So it's the same thing with the marches and the policy enforcers basically, squeezing their space of where they're going to go. It's the same thing.
Yeah. And you know what? And here's the thing, this is what I just said about, people rallying and walking about. That's what the Asiatics, unconscious though they may be, that's all they know how to do. Isn't that pitiful? That's all they know how to do. Meanwhile, modern Europeans is taking it to the federal court because that's what they know how to do. But here's the thing. This is not about dividing the Asiatics and the modern Europeans, because guess what? This is affecting everybody. So what we need to be doing right about now is we need to be uniting as one and bringing a suit into the world court against the United States of America, because I know some people probably miss this. Unless you give up your First Amendment right to contract with whom you choose to contract, meaning you don't have the right to travel. This is what he's saying, because he says if you are not a U.S. citizen, you are not allowed to come and go as you please. This is what he's saying. Now, a U.S. citizen, I don't know where that is in the American Constitution. What is that? Because I can tell you from the little bit of research that I have done that it says an individual is a U.S. citizen. This is right in their codes, by the way. This is not something I'm making up. It says an individual is a U.S. citizen, and U.S. citizen is property of the federal government. That's what it says right in their code. So what he's saying is you have to become some sort of a commodity member, something of whatever the U.S. is. That's a violation of your First Amendment right, because it's telling you that not only are you giving up your nationality, you're giving up your right to contract, and if you don't do those things, then you don't have the right to travel. That's what that's saying. That is a violation of international and national law, because in the 13th article of the United Nations Universal Declaration on Human Rights, it says basically everybody has the right to travel. You have the right to leave your home and return. And you have a right to travel. And that's a United Nations Universal Declaration. All right? So Trump just broke United Nations Article 13. And by the way, for everybody who's looking for their right to travel, in the American Constitution, that's in the 9th and 10th Bill of Rights, nationally and internationally, it's Article 13 in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Islam.
On the table.
and keep in mind that on top of that article and all the other articles, there was the article of the United Nations in all the declarations speaking of the right to a nationality that Noble Drew Ali came and told you before United Nations.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Nations is late with the message.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
The message was supposed to be told to all these people by the missionaries of the Moorish Science Temple of America since 1930, that they have a right to a nationality and what their nationality was. So they're not going out there and picking some arbitrary nationality and getting themselves in worse trouble than they were in, just being unknown about what it is.
Right.
So these people that are supposed to have told our people, if they would have followed the instructions and taught people how to enforce the Constitution, these people wouldn't be playing statutes with them.
Right.
And playing, they don't have rights and playing privileges and whatever else that they're playing with them. And just because I can hear the trolls coming, yes, we know King Alfred Plan is an executive order, which makes it a statute, which makes it just some BS. But if they're talking about incinerating people, I would highly consider what that statute's saying.
Yes. Yes.
If they're talking about 8th hour, 7th hour, 6th hour, 5th hour, 4th hour, this is how it's going to go down, I would consider some of these statutes that threaten your livelihood and threaten your rights.
That's right. Be diligent. That's called being diligent is what you're saying about these things. Yes.
Yeah.
Because they'll push them right through, too, as long as we're still asleep and don't, take our place. And when I say take our place, I don't mean go out there and march with these people. That's not what we mean. We mean it's in your mind and you know who you are. This is all about, it's all about identity. It's all about everything that's been talked about.
It's all about identity.
Take our place also doesn't mean going and being a mayor and change it from the inside and stupid stuff like that.
Please talk about that.
Right.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. I'm
taking
going to go
our place.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Taking our place isn't having Moorish American Party under U.S. so you can vote for a party under the U.S. jurisdiction. That's not taking your place amongst the affairs of men. Being part and partial is not taking your place.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. That's a
taking
great
your
point.
place is that we're supposed to be governing our own affairs because these grand chiefs and whoever were supposed to have been made laws and customs for us to follow, for us to be our own theocratic, whatever we want to be. And then now everybody's scattered trying to figure out how to be what they can be. Now these same people who are supposed to teach people are looking at people who are just trying to exercise their birthright because they have no choice now. They're looking at them like they're a renegade and why they doing that. They need to come to the temple, get the right instructions and all that. FOH with your BS.
It is. It is. Because they've been
like, they sold out the people. Now the people are suffering to the point where even if they say, we're going to crash the Federal Reserve and bring back the gold standard. None of these people already have no gold or whatever. They're still in the pressure cooker. Even if they bring back the gold standard, you have no gold. You're in trouble.
I just want to. The people never needed the gold. It's the corporations that need the gold. They're not even operating lawfully.
Right. They stole that anyway. So right. Because we didn't need it.
That's why they can't do what they are accustomed to doing because they don't have no money.
They're bankrupt. That's why they called him Trump. He's the professional at bankruptcy.
Yeah. But I didn't mean to cut you, Cujo. Finish your thought.
Yeah, no. So with everything that's going on, and the people have not been told what they're supposed to be doing. Now they're scattered.
Yes.
And the unification is going to come from these people who have like minds, who study together, that are going to gravitate these people who are seeking. It's like we were saying at the event that we did on Saturday. There was maybe about 50 people there, right? About 75% of the people, when the food came, they didn't even care about hearing nothing about lecture no more.
They just came for food.
When the food came, it was like a vortex opened and these people disappeared in it.
Wow.
And then there was 25% of the people who, they moved their seat because, when the food comes, everybody starts talking and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So it's interrupting stuff going on. But the individuals who wanted to know, they got up from their seat wherever they were sitting and they came up to the front so they can hear what was being said.
They got ears to hear. Yeah.
So, and again, it's prophecy manifesting. There's only going to be a handful saved. So, the ones who got it, we're probably it. Like, don't, be looking too far for people running to, we already got the 16 secretaries that took the names down. Like, everybody's in.
Yeah.
The people who, like we're saying, the boat left the dock, whoever's coming now, they're swimming. Like, you better try to catch the rope or whatever and get on board. There's no stopping to pick up people and all that right now.
No.
Right?
And the train train off of the track, so you got to run real fast. So you got to be in shape. So you know what I mean? Like, got a lot of catching up. And again, it's all right here in front of us right now. And I want to say this. And I was talking about this earlier. When it's good to be able to talk with those across the nation or close at hand, or from the perspective that understands and knows what's happening. There's nothing to even argue about because everyone knows something is wrong. Well, didn't the prophet say that? I mean, if you read religious controversy, like right now, if you read religious controversy, you'll understand that. Everybody knows something's wrong, trying to figure out what it is, whatever like that. And in that particular document, as you had mentioned earlier, and even the most educated with the letters behind your names, that is who I find who they haven't gotten it quite yet, but because they have this education or the so-called education with, the PhD and the BA and the BS, which is the bullshit, and all that, really that's what it is. But because they have that, they want to approach it from some intellectual manner, but in the wrong, without the foundation, and they haven't quite woke up yet. But what they end up doing, because they have this trust and faith in this education, that really, the longer they've had that education, the higher they will jump to defend it. That's what's happening now, because some of the most supposedly educated people are getting involved, and like you had mentioned earlier, also they're learning about corporate construct information instead of about natural people, natural law, and what is bestowed to them from birth. They're not learning that, so they're trying to apply what they think is their education into fixing this thing, And of course, the birth certificate redemption process is a absolute shining example of that. Shining example. Because I was talking with someone and they said they make it make so much sense. The only reason it makes sense, if it makes sense, is because they're coming from the position that these people are lawful government. That's which means they never read the law to recognize that they're not. Islam.
All right. Well, let's see. If you guys are ready, we can start taking callers. We got some people with their hands up. If you have a question, comment, of course, or concern, press 1 on your telephone dial, and we will take the callers in the order in which they are received. So our first caller is caller 412-969. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwestern Maxim.
Islam, this is Energy L, Northwestern Maxim. I appreciate everything you all said tonight. I don't watch the news. I really don't watch TV anyway. I watch movies and things, but still. And I was looking for one particular commentator that I've always enjoyed, which is Jon Stewart. And he had already left his daily show. And I knew he was going to go in on this topic. And he had did a pop-up on the another show. And he went in, and he had made the same statement like the European that you played earlier, similar along that lines. And he let it be known. He was like, you know, you're talking about taking back your land. You forget, this isn't your land. It never was your land. I was loving it. I was loving it. I was waiting for Jon Stewart to say something because I knew he was going to go in on this. He has always been against the so-called establishment or whatever. I mean, yes, he's a European son and everything, but I knew that his clarity was going to be so pinpointed. There's another one out there, Trevor Noah. He took over his position at the Daily Show. And this young man, he's coming from out of South Africa. And he had was born around the apartheid era, where he was born to crime. That's the book he written, and I got to get that. I would like to read it. But anyway, so he had spoke about the world colonization of Britain, and it was a 5-minute skit that he did on a John something show, and it was hilarious because he is a comedian. Now, both of these guys are comedians, and what's so funny about Jon Stewart is he was voted the number one journalist in this landmass when he's not even a journalist. He's a comedian. And I found that to be hilarious. So, but his points are always so on. I was just, like I said, I knew he was going to say something. Even though he had left the, the media or the spotlight or whatever, I knew he wasn't going to be able to stay silent behind something like this. This is all crazy. But me personally, I'm not concerned about any of this. Like you said, the prophet already said, they're going to tell you the truth, a conflict that can't be said in words. Those who haven't caught the boat, oh, well, you get to drown. All those who got those alphabets behind their names and all these so-called esquires and, all that BS. Yeah. Go ahead. Go play in traffic. I have no problem with seeing you get splat. I have no problem with that at this point in time. I'm just grateful to know who and what I am, what I'm working towards, and I know the Most High got me, so that's all that matters. And I'm going to yield the floor on that one. Islam.
Thank you.
Okay, Islam.
Yep.
All right. The next caller is showing up as a 111111 number. You are live on the air. You state your appellation at Northwestern Maxim.
Thank you.
Islam? Islam.
Think they're having a little.
Yeah, it sounds like a little bit of technical difficulty. Islam, are you there? All Alrighty, we'll come back to them later.
International, isn't that usually an international with Skype number? Maybe
no,
they're having a little.
That's a internet dialing.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so we got one more caller with their hand up in the queue. Once again, if you have a question, comment, or concern that you'd like to put on the table, press 1 on your telephone down. We will take your call. Caller 443-376, you're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwestern Exum.
Peace and greetings. I am Hassan Ghazi Obey at Northwestern Exum. How's the family?
It's live. Fine.
Islam. I was just calling to say excellent class. And I really am backing and supporting whatever demonstrations that will occur with the whole right to travel, because that's something that I have definitely, for some reason, it just kind of been, on my spirit, so to speak. But that's all I have to say with that. I yield the floor. Excellent classes, everyone. Excellent classes today. Peace and love.
And you know what? Islam, brother.
Islam.
It's interesting because there are some people who have already, who do demonstrate that right to travel, and it's something that we shouldn't have to do, but it has come to its head. Because remember, we have the right to travel over land, air, and sea. Remember that when the modern Europeans, after the treaty, which then came the law of the land, the treaty between Moors and Christian powers was all about allowing them to pass through the ports, and that's why they had to establish the banner, not flag, and pass through already existing ports. So when we talk about travel, it's on the line because it's not just traveling in whatever conveyance it is. It's over land, air, sea, national, and international. That is the issue. In fact, on our travel card, we say national, international, land, air, sea. So it's on the table right now. And so for all those naysayers and about, if you get to drive, if you use that car, it's dangerous. Like that. To really catch up. They need to really study. And some of them, well, it doesn't even matter who they are because it's all in front of us right now. And it'll never be the same. This is another thing. Oh, and let me just say this. It will never, ever be the same after whatever this is going on right now. No matter what. It's not going to be the same. So everyone is absolutely forced to make some change. I'm sorry, Annie, go ahead and say what you were going to say.
Yeah, I was just going to say, oh, goodness. I love it.
I was talking to the right to travel.
Great. All right. I remember what I was going to say. You do have people who are running around saying, oh, if you use that identification card or if you use that card, you're going to get in trouble. Here's the thing. Mm-hmm. People in their private capacity they're not supposed to be required.
That's right.
To use any card. There's no need for people in their private capacity to identify themselves to public servants. All right?
Yes.
There's no need for that. And unless you, even if you're operating in a corporate capacity, unless you have injured another being, and that being that you injured is bringing a charge. Even if they do bring a charge, there's still no reason for all of this. People, it's like everywhere you go, people are saying you got to have identification. Why?
Mm-hmm.
You go to the airport and purchase a ticket, they want identification. Why? I'm standing right here. The ticket is for me. And even if it's not for me, what if it's somebody, or even if it's for somebody else, so what? Your job is to sell seats on your airplane or your bus or your train. That's your job. Your job is to who delegated to a ticket seller, all right, to verify my identification, to verify I am who I say I am. Who delegated power to a ticket seller for that? Because, see, last I checked, that's got to come from me anyway.
Right. That's right.
Delegation of power comes from the people, not the freaking public servant.
Right. Right.
Right?
Right.
And then they're saying, well, you know, for national security. Okay, well, then who the hell are you?
Right.
Who are you? Because I'm the national here. Who the hell are you?
Exactly.
And this is not just for the nationals. This is for all people. When people who are working in a public servant capacity tries to act like they got some power and authority over people in their private capacity, it is up to the people in their private capacity to turn the tables and ask, wait a minute, who the hell are you?
Mm-hmm.
Last I checked, I didn't delegate any authority to you, and if I did, it wouldn't be to turn around and ask me for identification. That's totally out of order.
Mm-hmm. It's funny though, because you could order that, say, over online. They don't ask you much of anything. They take your finance. So then when you get there, they're gonna say, oh no, you can't get on the plane, and we're gonna keep your finance too. You know, it's crazy.
Exactly. And you know what? And
Mm-hmm.
people allow them to get. You go to the store. Here's the thing: you go into the store to buy a money order. They want all kind of identification. Why? I'm standing right there. I'm giving you my finance. All right? I know who I'm sending that to.
Right.
And then they want to turn around and say, well, you know, we got people who are engaging in criminal activity. You're standing here engaging in criminal activity.
Right.
You're telling me I need to give you, a public servant, a little dossier on who I am. And then on top of that, you're talking about you need me. You're compelling me to give you Federal Reserve notes, which isn't even money, to get a money order. A Federal Reserve note is a money order.
That's right. That's right. But we will say this though. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we and others have gotten on airplanes, you know, without any problem with the ID. I mean, it's just becoming more and more, It's becoming not a problem more and more. It's more and more becoming not a problem, and it will be.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
Right.
the more people who enforce the Constitution, because I don't care if you look. It don't matter if you was born on this land or you came to this land from somewhere else. The Constitution protects people, not corporations. It protects people, all people. Any public servant that says to you, well, if you're not a member of U.S.A. or whatever, the USA, whatever, if you're not a U.S. citizen, then we can't, the Constitution doesn't protect you. That's bull crap, because how did your behind get here?
That's right. That's how they write it.
How did you get protection? The Constitution only protects people who are here. Your behind is still a foreigner. It doesn't matter if you've been here 200 years. You're still foreign to the land.
That's right.
And see, the other thing that I want to say, and then you know, you're the floor, take some more calls because we got a couple more people who raised their hands. This is the most I haven't found a word yet to express how stupid, because I need something more severe than stupid. You got people who are trying to say that you are your nationality, you are wherever you were born. So now you're saying that a geographical location is the determining factor of my nationality. not my blood. Let me give you something else that's even stupider.
Stupid is a stupid.
I was having a conversation with my brother this past weekend, and he had this DNA thing done. And let me tell you, this is how gullible our people are. Because he says that according to the DNA results, he's 30% white. And then 15% African. And 3% British. So I said, okay, so you're 30% of crayon, and then the rest of the percentage is dirt. Because white is a crayon. White is a color. It can only be a crayon. Africa, with the land, the corporate construct they're calling Africa and Britain, that's land. So you're dirt. So you're some percentage dirt and some percentage crayon. That's stupid. Stupid. And then when I first heard it, I said, so you like the Bionic Man. They sent all around the world, got parts, put you together in Great Britain or America, and here we are.
Right, exactly. Oh, my God. I think Cujo...
That is so stupid. This is how gullible, and he paid 200 notes for that. He could have given 200.
They were never even talking about that stuff before. They're only talking about it because they have to think and say, okay, which way are the people's minds going now? Let's throw in something to distract them, but kind of stay on the path that it seems like they're on, because whatever they say, people want to believe. So they're talking about this ancestral, stuff, and I'm 10% this and 30% that. No, you're not. You, whatever your mother is, that's it. That's all. Make it simple. Right. Keep it simple. That is it. That is all that it is, and it's just mom and son on the planet. That's it. So, I mean,
that's right.
In terms of the
that's absolutely, and then I'm going to say this, and then we yield the floor. The only reason that they're doing this so-called DNA and Ancestry.com, all this other, the only reason, it's not just so that you know where you come from, because you come from your mama. That's where you come from. If you don't know you came from your mama, then you need to get scanned every single day. Every day. Yeah. All right? But here's the thing. That's all they're doing is they're getting gullible people to pay to give up their DNA because they need it. They need to keep account of who got what DNA and where your behind is because they need your DNA. And so the only way they can figure out if you are of importance to them is if they can get you to give up your DNA freely. And then they said, I know these people are so gullible, let's charge them to give it to us.
They'll go for it. Oh, God. I'm sorry. Cujo, I think you wanted to make a comment. I heard you say it.
Well, I just wanted to put another reference point out there. Got an email from someone, a Moorish American, who knew a highwayman or was around a highwayman or whatever. And he just decided, well, you know what? Let me just ask this highwayman, right? So he, while they were building or whatever, he just comes out and asks the highwayman, okay, well, if I handed you this, and then he had his nationality card, how would you deal with it? So highwayman, got the big eyes and all that stuff, and asked the brother what was his status and was he operating privately. So the brother said, well, I'm a Moorish American national, and I wouldn't be engaging in commerce. The highwayman told him, then I would have no choice but to let you go. because I understand private versus commerce. And personally, I wouldn't want to deal with the paperwork anyway.
Right.
If I take this ID as your identity, I don't want to deal with the paperwork. Right? So he said he's still going on with him, and he's telling him that the a lot of the officers don't know that all they are code enforcers and not law enforcers at all.
That's right.
Right.
So when they encounter people who might have these things, because of their lack of knowledge of what, the two sides or whatever, right? There's usually some type of problem. Somebody's ego usually gets in the way, and there's an issue all the time. Like it's just gonna happen, right? But he did say that if you really want to avoid problems altogether, just don't contract with the DMV.
And that's what we right. That's right.
And then after their building session, the highwayman told the brother that they never had this conversation.
No. Yeah.
So there's more, like when people only see what is presented without having background information. When they're judging the book by the cover as to why they don't want to be Moors because they heard something or they seen something. They're actually playing themselves out of really understanding what this is, because this is only going to make sense to you when you be this.
That's right.
This is not something you're going to look from the outside and say, oh, yeah, I think I'm ready to be a Moor now. You're going to be a Moor to know what being Moor is.
Yeah.
You're going to declare your nationality. You're going to proclaim who you are. You're going to engage people with this newfound wealth that you have. It's like when they talk about, well, you got to meet the people where they are and all that stuff, because they're not ready, or, you don't want them to go too fast and whatever like that. Well, Drawley brought them out of darkness into the marvelous light.
That's
so what does anybody have that is brighter than the light that he brought? If you're not talking what Noble Drawley's talking, then you're not talking marvelous light. You're talking, 20 watts or whatever.
Yeah.
Talking about, that's what was brought. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, we came up with this brilliant idea to start up a Moorish republic, whatever, and that's where you're going to get your freedom.
Oh, gosh, yes.
When Drawley came already and laid everything out and told everybody, it's yours, so you're either going to defend this at, the cost of your life, or you're not going to have it. And it's really that easy.
Yeah. Starting something new. I'm glad you brought that up, because that is one of the things that is really not cool. Oh, we're going to start a new nation. We're going to start a new republic. And then there's even one guy that started, what was that I mean? The new reestablished of America. But, here's what I said. In a way, this is exposure time, you know what I mean? So by them saying that, now I know there's people who might follow after them because they haven't studied enough to know not to, but one who does that, it's like, all right, so they don't get it. The situation is that it's not us making that judgment that they don't get it. It's them putting that out there, and then the results of that is coming from the universe. It's like they're going to get their reply to that, because it's really time for everyone to truly inner, over, and understand, stand under national unthinkable, period. So all of that stuff has to go by the wayside because it's, like you said, it's already done. It's already done. So if we abandon our own ancestral estate, that's our choice to do, whether we did it consciously, knowing, not knowing, halfway knowing, like you said, 20 watts instead of the marvelous light. All right, well, there comes a point and a time, and this is where we are, where you have to move from this point forward because this thing is happening. And if that's where you are, then, I guess the prophet said it best. He said, man will find themselves where they can solve their problems best because that stuff is not going to fly. You have to take your place amongst the affairs of men. And there's no place where you starting something new, talking about a new republic or reestablishing this. No, this is our stuff already. Even these the Union States, which really when they first started was 13, right? That's really what the U.S. is. But they're occupying on your ancestral estate, and the law was given to them. You have to recognize that they're breaking the law. Everything has to be flipped. Just like now people are finding out that, the first slaves here on this land were Slavics, which are Europeans. They're the true Negroes, the true ones. The true ones. Everything was reversed. Man's business is about reflection. And we have to look at this, the polar reflections of what's happening. It's the same thing happening. It's just a matter of what side of the pole you're on when you see it. And that is dependent, as you said, Cujo, on what you know, or you can only be what you know. And if you haven't studied, then you don't know. And so you are creating these things and walking yourself right out of your position. It's what's happening. So,
yeah. And on the note of ancestral states and abandoning it, and you were speaking about the DNA, Cujo, if I'm not mistaken, you had a video or have a video up where they was talking about the DNA being fake. I mean, something like he just told them to mark whatever anyway. It wasn't that? Didn't you have something up like that?
Yeah. That was the same DNA guy. I'm forgetting this man's name. But anyways, the guy with the glasses or whatever. And he was saying that he was doing a lecture or something, or Q&A or something like that. And he's talking about Oprah. How Oprah claimed that she's Zulu or whatever. And her thing didn't even come back saying that she's Zulu.
Oh, yeah.
So she got hype and went over there and, whatever. So the individual he was talking with is the guy who does the DNA test. And he straight told the guy, well, since it's Oprah, you might as well go back and change the stuff so it says Zulu.
Wow.
This is the DNA test stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's coming out in the open. Well, it might not have been open. It might be some, underground thing where that wasn't even supposed to come out. But the whole DNA stuff's a fake.
Yeah,
because
it is.
The joke they made was, what do you think? You could find out who somebody is from spit or whatever. And they had a laugh about it. Like, it wasn't just making a comment. Commented and they were laughing like it was the biggest joke.
It is. It's hope.
It is,
exactly.
because this is my thinking, all right? First of all, if they knew that much about DNA, they would fix themselves because they're becoming extinct, all right? So that's number one. Number two, there's only two, I know they tell you that there's this O positive, O negative, A, B, AB, but really, though there's only two families. There's only two families in the human species on planet Earth. That's the Asiatic and the modern European. That's all there is. Now, people be thinking, oh, well, there's interbreeding going on today. No, the only interbreeding that took place in the laboratories in the Yucatan. That's where the literal DNA from the species they took it and then they put it under magnifying glasses and they manipulated it. That's called interbreeding, where they took two DNA types and they merged them together. There's no interbreeding going on outside of the lab. None. Because that's the only way DNA can be manipulated, truthfully. And then, you look at, I had this guy, I think it was a guy in, on Facebook. He, when I put up that post about the Asiatic son claiming the modern European daughter and giving her offspring his family appellation, the son said, well, CMJ said they're going to come the way, they're going to return the way they came. And he thought it was through amalgamation. Well, amalgamation is just another way of saying modern Europeans. But if you go back and look at how the modern Europeans came, they came in a lab. They came out of the lab. That's how they came. Guess what? That's how they return in today, because they back in the lab trying to figure out how they can increase their numbers. That's where the in vitro fertilization and the fertility clinics are. That ain't for us. First of all, we can't afford it. Secondly, we don't need it. So that's not for us. That's for them. And their numbers are drastically decreasing. And the biggest problem they have is they have dumbed us down so badly that the necessary information we have in our DNA to help them, they can't extract it from us because they dumbed us down to the point where we can't even access it. They are going to go exactly how they came, and they came through the lab, and they back in the lab without the scientists.
Just for the record, we was talking about our identity and things like that. Just to put on the record, because we weren't on last week. We went to the museum down in D.C. And they called it the National African American Museum, but we know that's not a nationality. However, there is things in there that if you have refinement, like if you have a foundation, whereas you can distinguish and you already know in certain places that truth and falsehood be strangely mixed, and you know what you're looking for, it's a lot of jewels in there. But on the plaques, it was they dropped some jewels. They were talking about in the 1400s, so-called Africans didn't consider themselves Africans. Like, this is what it said. Like, they're telling you this right in the museum. And then they go in to talk about, quote, slavery being a temporary status. If you recall that, I'm pretty sure you do. I was just going to say, add on. Yeah.
Oh, I do. There was a couple of things. I know you're going to be putting together a short analytic on it, but there's a couple of things. You just said it. If you come in here knowing something, you see where you there's some jewels in there. A lot of I don't know if you had the name of the brother that was writing, Duo Lofa. I have it written down. And this was back in, 1400s? We had our people writing books. Remember the book that was in there? It was in there, and it was published in 1492 or something like that, 1400. We had people that was writing back then, and the things that were being said. It's like I would love to get that book. They got it in a case though, and then see those types of things are the artifacts, that they got hidden somewhere that you can't find, whatever like that. But it was a few things. What there was another one about where they affirmed what we already know, that whatever the mother is, that's what the child is. Remember that one, Liz? I said take a picture of that. And
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely working on that to make sure that video is out, and I trust you'll post that on the site. Put that up right on the site, because everything, it was so many affirmations about what we already know. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it, you heard the saying before: the deaf won't hear, the blind won't see that. You know what I mean? But it's right there, everything you've been saying. And
what about the block? What about the block?
Oh, they're going to have to just watch the video or go there for that. You know what I mean? Because
you mean the part about the block when they were selling?
Yeah, I'm gonna go in on that in the video. You know what I mean?
The block is hot.
Yeah.
All right. That was a good one, because everybody, they have the different. Even the people that were around, they have their own interpretation of what that is, but they know it is, related to present day. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to pick our next caller. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try this 111 number again. Caller 1111111. Islam, are you there? Islam, caller 111.
They're trying to talk again. They got a bad connection. They probably don't want to hang up, because if they hang up, they can't get back in. Yeah.
I'm going to go to the next caller. Caller 908-577. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwestern Maxim.
Greetings. This is More Energy at today, the east coast of North America, Maxim.
All right.
And what's up? I'm confused about the whole nationality thing, because you're telling me that the Moors own the four corners of the earth, correct?
Well, Moors are the first. Moors means first navigator.
So, given by divine rights of the Creator, they're given the rights of the four corners of the earth. So you're telling me that, and then, so they own that, and then.
No, we don't own it. You don't own the land.
No, what's your nationality? What's your nationality?
I'm claiming to be a Moor.
All right, go ahead. Finish with your position.
So, and we all have a right to nationality, and you're telling me these so-called European people can't claim that. And I looked up what nationality means. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, no, are you saying that Europeans can't claim to be Moors?
Moor.
Is that what you said?
Right.
Well,
right.
They have national. Go ahead.
So, if the Moors have rights to all four corners of the earth, then all four corners of the earth are technically Moorish. And to my accounts and studies, nationality is where your birthright is. And on top of that, you have a right to claim any nationality. And on top of that, there were
now let me finish. You don't have the right to claim any nationality. You have to claim your own.
Yeah.
So how do you define that the Europeans own this land or have rights to this land when the whole world is Moorish?
Okay, because you got to understand where. Okay, I'm just going to add this. That's a very good question that you're asking, and in my opinion, that will be the next phase of our consciousness to understand where they came from. When you understand where they came from, and I would suggest you read C.M. book, the Jacobean, the Jacobean experiment, and the nigger problem. I'm not talking nigger industry is good too, but nigger problem, and those facts. Then you would understand where they came from. Yeah.
Can you repeat that? Jacobean?
Yeah, Yakub. Have you heard of Yakub, right? The big-headed scientist they called him.
No. I mean,
no, you have. All right.
Haven't.
All right. So when you read the Yakub experiment, when you read the nigger problem, when you read C.M. Bay, who goes in on that as well, then you yourself will be able to answer a lot of the questions that you're asking us, and then call back in after you do that and see if you can gain. I think that's what you need to read to gain some understanding that you're asking for.
Okay,
all right?
Thank you.
C.M. Bay is Clock of Destiny 1 and Clock of Destiny 2. It's 2 books.
The what?
Clock of Destiny 1 and Clock of Destiny 2. That's the C.M. Bay's work, and then Yakub Experiment and Nigger Problem.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Mm-hmm. All right.
13 lows.
And the other aspect,
right.
the other aspect as well is that being that we were the first people to touch all the 4 corners, we have the divine right to clothe those who are stateless with citizenship. And if we when we say, we touched all the 4 corners, go everywhere and you'll see that we were there. We left stuff there so people know who were the ones that were here first.
Definitely agree.
So their usage of the land, don't get their usage of the land confused with them colonizing. There's 2 different. What you're talking about is them colonizing. You're not talking about their usage of the land. The 13 colonies was their usage of the land.
Right.
Okay.
What you're looking at today is colonization. What you're looking at today is individuals who stepped outside of their boundaries that they were given in order to exercise what they called being free and independent. But that was only within the colonies. They weren't supposed to go anywhere else.
That's right.
They had borders. They had passports.
Right. They had the big wooden walls.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then also tie into that as well that they were the ones coming over here on ships, not us.
Right.
They were the ones in slavery, not us. We were the masters.
Yeah. Yep.
So all the seats that we've given to them or that we've assumed were their seats were really our seats that they took over because we went unconscious.
Yep.
But now we're coming back to that consciousness, which is a problem for them because they've been telling everybody else around the world that they're the Americans and they're the Algonquin and they made treaties with the Europeans to do whatever, and people starting to realize that those guys been lying to them all this time.
Yes. Yes.
At the same time saying that, oh yeah, you guys are our allies, we need this, we need that, help us build pipelines, help us do all this stuff in this land that's not ours. And everybody else in the world knows that they have an obligation to the Moors because the Moors civilized them and got them out of whatever BS that they were in.
Yes.
Right.
So everybody owes the Moors right now. But they can't give it to the Moors because the Moors are in their own land pretending that they're Negro black colored people.
That's right. That's it.
Okay, so I'm going to read these.
You also need to read history of the Moors in Europe and the history of the Moors in Spain, which is I think it's 2 volumes or 3 volumes on that. You might be hard for you to get that because they put a price tag on that one that's large.
Oh,
yeah.
You can find the PDF on the internet.
Yeah, but the other ones I named to you, we have on RVBey publications. But those other 2, history of the Moors in Spain, history of the Moors in Europe. Oh, and Cujo, I didn't mean to cut you. Were you saying something else?
Oh, no, I was good. I think the brother had another comment question.
Right. All right. So
have you guys
looked? Go ahead.
It seems like this the history you're pulling from is that the only thing that applies to this conversation?
Say that again.
Like in so-called history, the information you're pulling from seems to be when the Constitution was written, which I'm going to assume is like maybe 1,000 years ago. But
no. The Constitution was done. This is just a section of history after the modern Europeans who were slaves here on this American land, because there's also books out on that now because they're exposing that. They asked for their independence from Britain, correct?
Right, and the Asians, both of them were brought here.
1776, they asked for their independence. And they really never got it from the British. The British were the brutish Moors, so we're all related, cousins on that side, right? And so what they did get is the Treaty of Peace and Friendship from the Moors here, the Almoravi Moors, right? And that allowed them to sail the seas freely without being pirated by the pirates who were Moors. And not everybody got that memo, so some of them still got banged up a bit, but then when they got here, the law of the land was given to them. So the peace, the olive branch of peace was really extended to them by us and said, all right, you can come here, and here's how you must behave. Here's the law of the land. And they have done completions of that law from front to back. All right, and then all that goes in between there, we fall asleep. We don't even recognize it now. As Cujo said, we're waking up. So what you're saying that is probably old is that if you really look at the Constitution, it's written in the principles, ancient principles of civilization. But the Constitution of 1791 ratified the American national Constitution, of which is the law of this land. That's what they're violating. That was established in 1791.
Okay.
And established for them. See, it wasn't really written for us as Moors, but it is our obligation, duty, and responsibility to enforce it so that we are not molested by these other citizens, which would be them. That's why it's there to protect us from that, and to make sure that that our unalienable rights of birth that existed before they even got here. You understand? Those are birth rights, right? And all right, that they are not infringed upon. But it also is to make sure that nobody are infringed upon. However, as Cujo mentioned, they have, after making sure that we were asleep, they have gone across the four corners of everywhere, the whole earth, in the name of being Americans. You know what I'm saying? And making all these colonizing and sneaking and murdering and all this stuff is in the nature. Now you have to understand that it's in the nature. But as the other Europeans said, there's some of them that's not in their nature. They recognize they realize as well. But what their forefathers did, you know what I'm saying, and foremothers did. But this is what they've done, and that all of that activity is lower self activity that people call the devil, but it's not. It's all that harms, murder, theft, robbery, all that harm that's lower self activity because they are a reflection of the higher self. But when you read CMBay, when you read your Cuban Experiment, when you read the Nigger Problem, when you study a little bit more on that, then you'll have a better understanding and be able to gain clarity on it. All right.
Yeah, I'm excited to read this stuff so I could actually understand what you guys understand and comply a little more.
Yeah, because it's actual facts of, and remember, as the prophet warned us, that truth and falsehood is strangely mixed. Because, like I said, they reversed everything. They have us being the Negroes when they're the real Negroes. Now, I know that sounds a little bit off, but once you read that, you will understand why they are.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means, and how they, and how we are, because they're really usurping our. And in the meantime, we're not even claiming it ourselves. This is what the problem is that we aren't even claiming it ourselves because, as Cujo said, we're going around saying we're Negro, colored, and black. So that means that we're out of the ability to inherit anything that is our natural rights, our ancestral estate. We can't inherit that if we don't know who we are and take our place amongst the affairs of man. We can't do it because we're too busy talking about we're black and looking for black rights that don't exist. And that's the real kicker here. Generations are looking for black rights that does not exist for us. And so here we are waking up now because what's happening now, again, is that these modern Europeans, they have to also claim who they are. As we said, well, why you ask me who I am? Who are you? And you know what I'm saying, like that. So now they're forced to do so. And they're not really happy about it because, and the main reason they're not happy, well, there's a lot of reasons, but, like a lot of people think that, that they're doing commerce and stuff like that. And, our folks have gotten all up into commerce, but we never thought, well, if they're doing commerce, what is their product? So they bureaucratize slavery or enslavement, because we're not slaves, we were enslaved. There is a difference. And they bureaucratized it, and they are pretending, because they're actors, that once you subscribe to being a member/citizen of these corporations as a corporate person, then, as Annie Eve said earlier, they're treating us like we're cargo. You can't do this, you can't do that. But because we're not taking our place as natural flesh and blood breathing beings, and who we are and our relationship, then they're like, well, if y'all don't know, and we help you not to know, because you came to our schools and we didn't teach you nothing about yourself, right? We're not teaching that truth. No, we're only talking about our history, and we're really proud to be more upright than we ever were before. And so they've just usurped it and lied. And so that's where you find truth and falsehood is strangely mixed. And you really have to study. One last thing is you really need to study all of the prophets' work as much as you can get as you can, because it helps to anchor what's happening today. Because he did some prophecies, of course, and they are all true, all coming true. And Cujo, you have a book on those prophecies, so, how do he get them? Go to your site or whatever? Get that book?
Khalifa Media, KhalifaMedia.com.
KhalifaMedia.com. All right.
Khalifa Media. And then what I was going to add was, from a spiritual level, by us claiming things that are fictitious, by us not knowing who we are, we usurp their karma.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's why our condition sucks while we're trying to pray and do good stuff, and their condition's great while they do devilish stuff.
Right.
And we don't get how come they can do devilish stuff and get away with it by the gods? Why would the gods let that happen to Emmett Till and all that type of stuff? Because we chose to not honor our foremothers and forefathers.
Right.
So the judgment's going to be on us, not the person who's inflicting on us.
Perish for lack of knowledge. You got it.
Right? Like, we're going to get judgment first, and then we're going to get our ass kicked on top of the judgment that we're getting.
Yeah, true.
Right.
So hold on, gird up, buckle up, and it'll be all right.
Yeah, I got to get some popcorn and we'll start reading.
Yeah.
All right.
Need more than that.
Well, thank
you
so much for your call.
Yes. Thanks for calling.
Peace, more.
All right, caller 972-839. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwestern Accent.
Islam family, this is Abdul Malik Shakur Bey. I'm calling from Northwest, a Mexican, Texas territory. Once again, it's good to hear you all voices and spreading law and understanding. I would just like to say this document, the Constitution, is to be used by any Moor who wishes to be represented by it. The Moorish nations of the world have been previously referred to as the following: Negroes, Africans, West Indians, the colored people, black, now African Americans, so on, etc., whatever they choose to call themselves tomorrow. None of these is our true nationality. We are direct and indirect descendants of our Moorish forefathers who have traveled to this land hundreds of years ago through one way or another and have made our homes here on this land mass, which is universally known as the North Gate. We have been here long before 1492, 1776, or 1863. It is critical that we recognize and understand how extremely important it is for us Moors who have studied, and most of all studied ourselves, and know without a doubt who your foremothers and forefathers were and are, which you are today. You conscious Moors live and put in motion with love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And most of all, it is extremely important for us Moors who teach truth to play an active part in the education of our children and the re-education of the so-called Negro, black, and color, Every time I hear it, I always think about misery, Pharaoh's army, the miseducation of Negro. If we simply continue as we have, always allowing someone else of another culture or nationality to identify who you are as a people, nothing without doubt will change for the better. It is always good to keep in mind the following. If all or most of what you think you know or have been taught to believe has been taught to you by one who has throughout history always proven themselves constantly never to have your best interest at heart, then logic would in turn with reason dictate that most of what you have been taught and are perpetrated to and programmed to believe you think you know as being fact is in fact not the truth and is not for your own good, not even who you think you are. Islam, Moors.
Thank you. Islam.
That goes back to what Prophet Noble Jali was saying when he was saying he trusts that his people find the true and divine way and stop serving the customs and mere ideas of men who never done them any good, right? But have always harmed them. Like, stop serving those ideas of men that have never done you any good but always harm. So there's a long track record of that going on, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, people are identifying the problem all the time. Well, you know, we can't do this because they do this and they do that. Well, thanks for identifying the problem, you know? There's a difference between identifying the problem and fixing it.
All right, our next caller. Caller 773-619. You're live on the air. Relation at Northwest of Mexico.
Islam family, this is Brother Roscoe Bay.
All right.
I got a question. Islam. I was in the store earlier today, and I was, chopping it up with one of our family members from the Kingdom of Morocco. I talk to him a lot. And he asked me a question. Well, he knows my standing. He asked me a question about the events that are taking place for the course of a few days. And he said, what are y'all going to do? And my response to him pretty much was, things are going to work itself out. But truthfully, I'm asking the Grand Sheiks and the Sheikas, with the situation with our family that's being detained, because they are family, being detained. Don't know if it's true because I haven't been to the airport, and I don't really buy into the media too much. But if it is truth, along with the other things that this dude who called himself the president has been doing, isn't this the perfect time for us to stand up and enforce that Constitution?
Yes,
that
that's what we're doing. Yes. Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you, but yes, and yes.
And I mean, I know from my personal experiences that I'm dealing with, these people know who we are.
Yeah.
They not to get too deep. I mean, I tell them all the time with documentation, through conversation, and they try to lure us into this sovereign citizen thing.
Yeah.
I had to correct somebody just yesterday. Let them know that I'm not a sovereign citizen. That my sovereignty is secured in my birthright. And then let them know that they are violating the Constitution. Well, they hung up the phone. So
because they didn't know what to say.
As they should.
The calls are being recorded. They're not going to admit to what they've done or what they're doing. Now, I honestly feel that divinely, our ancestors are allowing these things to take place.
On the job. That's right. That's why the prophet said this is divine and national, brother. That's right, Cass.
And then we're supposed to chop these people down right now.
Yeah.
And I think that they're putting us in a situation where we have, like you said earlier, we don't have no choice.
Nope. Forced. Someone do it, though.
The brother at the store said to me, he said, "We're waiting on y'all."
Oh, wow, he executed. Because you know why? Can I just interject? Because this is because here's a simple. These people, these modern Europeans, Donald Trump, all of them, they are the immigrant, and the world knows that. So how do they get, in any way, shape, form, or fashion, to determine who can come and go, or who is, or who's an immigrant? They're but immigrants themselves. So when we look at the fact and we get that understanding that this is our ancestral estate, we should, smack ourselves in the head like, whoa, wake up. What's going on? You're right. Go ahead. I didn't want to cut you, but
he made another point.
Think about this, too.
Oh, go ahead, Cujo.
Yeah, think about this, too. Remember, in the 1920s, in the oral statements, there's statements from people saying that, when Noble Drew Ali was around, Chinese and Turks and Japanese and whoever else was part of Moorish Science Temple. Who you think that guy is that you were talking to?
Right. That's right.
Well, he knows he's a Moor. He knows that we're Moors.
Yeah, but how do you think he knows? He's in America. He's not in this land right now. He's over here. How does he know over here that he's a Moor over here? Over there, we could understand because they're from over there. But when they come over here, the only reason that they know about Moors, tying themselves to Moors, making a connection to Moors, that Moors should be doing this, Moors should be doing that, is because they know about Noble Drew Ali and what he brought to the Moors over here. Which what they're waiting for when they say, "What are we gonna do?" They're not. They're talking about solving the Negro problem.
Yes, thank you.
Because they can't do it.
Nope.
Because remember, they're pretending that they're with the Moors, but half of them got visa and all that stuff from U.S. Corps.
Yes.
So they're not going to talk against their master and get their visa taken away, so they have to go back to bombs and all that stuff where they came from.
Yeah,
they're going to zip lip, and they're going to talk in code. And those who get the code, just like you got the code, and then you're calling and you're spreading the code, and then now we're spreading the code to everybody. Make sure that you're putting people on this game about their nationality and birthright, because everybody knows. Brother just called in to verify that everybody knows.
Yes.
So
well, you
how is these people's perspective going to be when everybody who comes in their store or whatever like that is stands up and turban up and knows about their nationality and birthrights? You think these people are going to be worried about some you dad that's taking some visa from them?
And that's the point he was making. He even mentioned the Attorney General, the one that Trump supposedly fired. He said he pretty much stood up to say, in so many words, you violating the Constitution, and I can't support that. And he fired her. He said, now we have Europeans. Now, I don't trust them, but there are some that have no choice but stand up with us. He said, you have Europeans that are making a stand and jeopardizing their careers, and some of them are even jeopardizing their lives. So that goes back to the question is, if we're the ones that have to enforce that Constitution, we're the ones that have to enforce the Constitution. These people are going to continue to do it until we enforce that Constitution as a nation. You can't do it by yourself. I've learned that. You can't enforce that Constitution by yourself. They're going to just shut you down. Nobody's going to stand up and go against that corporate policy. The majority of them aren't.
It's imploding on itself right now, though. See, so part of what are we going to do is being done anyway. It actually comes down to, as you're demonstrating, this guy already knows, so it kind of comes down to each individual person asking themselves, because remember, the prophet said, if you're looking for your Savior, you must look within. And if you're looking for your devil, you must look within. So the time now in the sports situation, there is no in between right now. Everyone is forced. So when they look within for their Savior, it's really up to them. And like we said, not everybody's going to make it the train or the boat or whatever, as we use that analogy. But that's really where it's at. And that's why the guy said, well, what are y'all going to do? Because he knows that we're the Moors, we're the Aboriginal people here, and we need to stand. All we have to do is, we have been standing, but look how divided things are. And it seemed like the more the consciousness came, everybody wanted to do everything, brother, everything else except enforce the Constitution. Now what you're looking at, which is the law of the land, supreme law of the land, as a matter of fact. So that means it's overall their policy. So now what you're looking at is, when you mention the modern Europeans, the prophet even said, hey, the Europeans are helping, why aren't you? This is your problem. So when you really analyze that present day, what they're really doing, as I said earlier, is they're enforcing the Constitution. So when are we going to wake up and recognize that? Part of it is because we do not know who we are. We refuse to have taken those lessons, or whoever gave them half caught. But in the end, the answer to it is going to have to look within and find the things. Islam.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing is that you were mentioning earlier that the Grand Sheiks have to don't be waiting on them. They haven't done nothing with regard to Constitution in 80 years, 90 years.
That's right.
So it's the people who's going to study the Constitution, understand what that document is, understand how these Europeans are obligated to follow the rules of the law of the land, and understand that our enforcement of it is what keeps them at bay.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And yes.
Right? Because if they're going to say we're governor and we're president and all that stuff, then they are saying that they're Moorish, whatever. All right. So if you're making claims, then we have claims to make, because clearly they're not the Moorish anything. They're imposters.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes back to the same thing of why would all these nations that aren't from here join the Moorish Science Temple of America? Because to them, Moorish Science Temple of America is an embassy to them.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's right.
For them
to, and that's the dual citizenship, being Moroccan and being tied back to where they're from, not EU.S citizen.
Definitely.
They have no, they're playing the game of United States citizen and all that stuff, but they're not really that. If they were so-called United States citizen, when they go to court, they wouldn't be able to pull, I need an interpreter. Interpreter will be right there in the court. They already have the names of everybody who's coming.
Mm-hmm.
They already know this guy doesn't speak whatever. Mm-hmm. But as soon as they bring up that defense, they always adjourn for another day.
Yeah.
The day that you're not going to be there, where they just wipe their stuff out and let them do whatever it is that they were doing. Why do you think all these so-called, especially out here, the biggest bootlegger is Mr. Chin out here. And Mr. Chin would have 500 stores all get raided, and then tomorrow have 500 stores again selling bootlegs. You guys just got raided yesterday. How do you guys get raided and then the same guy is starting a business again selling bootlegs?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then this one brother, he has a dime in his pocket and he gets 10 years for some marijuana.
Right.
It's crazy,
And now it's the order of the day. And our people are the only ones that don't know it. That's why Moors who know this, you know what I mean? You're obligated to uplift and fall humanity. Don't be expecting, I'm part of Temple 85 and Grand Sheik's going to do that, so I can just be part of this. And that's uplifting fall because I paid my dues. That ain't what this is about. You better be a missionary. You better be a missionary.
Yeah.
Because all those mountains of gold that's going to be revealed to the Moors is not going to be revealed if you haven't done you think you're just going to leech off this when stuff drops and everything revealed, that you're just going to be able to run up and say, hey, I'm claiming whatever. No. So don't forget, certain people who bought certain things, now they have control over jurisdiction. Now you got to go through them. And they already know what the obligation is because, again, they had their great-great-granddad was a member of the Moorish Science Temple.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're in control of whatever they're in control of. And only certain people are going to be able to get through, the ones who have nationalities.
Yes, that's it right there. Yep.
Know that.
Yep.
And it's
That's
crazy
it,
because how they speak, when you're talking about they have claims, they make claims, we have claims to make. Like, it's crazy because they speak. I was, listening to the Trump inauguration, and, he thanked all the previous presidents and then was like, well, I got in office. Now that I'm here, this represents the transfer of power back to the people. Because he basically was like, look, they had a slumber party in D.C. or whatnot, but they always make this claim of our country. Like, Trump, you know what I mean? Like, this is what they're always saying, our country, right? This is what they're promoting to the public. And it's like, okay, they're saying this, but it's not their land at all, like the European dude said in the beginning. So I say that I can't stress enough, everything is going back to identity, not what you signed up for, what organization you signed up for. This is about identity. Fully, like you said, nationality is the order of the day, tomorrow, next week, and so on. So, for sure, I yield the floor. Islam. Oh, and I wanted to say, too, when you're looking at somebody like that, these Europeans, how many of them actually have this mind state of this ultimate reality that this is their land? Like, because I'm telling you, if you really watch when Bush said that Mandela was dead and then went on to blame, Saddam Hussein, like this is crazy alternate reality. Like, and how many of them are out there like that in those positions though? So like, sometimes it's sad when you can look and see that somebody may be believing their very own lie. Like, serious, that's crazy. But this is what we're looking at. So, again, it's the same energy kind of in a sense playing itself out because they're disrespecting sacred lands. They're making claims on the land that is not theirs. And Moors need to know that and wake up to that fact. Islam, I yield the floor.
Okay. All right, so let's see. Where are we with our callers?
Oh, hey, you know what? There's just one more book that I want to refer, Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers, to the previous caller who I assume is listening. All right. I just want to throw that out there.
All right. All right, and I think our last caller, unless somebody else raises their hand, is caller 610-868. They're live on the air. Please state your operation at Northwestern Maximum. 610-868. Alrighty, I think there's no one there.
If I could add on to what I was saying about, these people with different perspectives and alternate realities, right? Because I was in the sporting store like last week, and I'm in there, they got the fishing poles, and European is in there, and he's looking at these binoculars, like looking through these binoculars. He's just there, and he asked me my opinion. Now, right behind him, right, is a whole rack of Mossberg shotguns. They have Mossberg shotguns for cheaper than your laptop. You understand what I'm saying? In the sporting store. So I'm looking, he asked me, what did I think about these binoculars? So to me, I'm looking at this whole thing symbolic of perspective because that's what he mentioned, you know what I mean? Like what he brought up, the binoculars. So I looked through the binoculars and I compared the two and I'm like, these ones are better, etc. So I'm zoned out looking at all of these firearms in the store where they sell them, right? For cheaper again than, a laptop. And I'm looking at it like, damn, there's been so many people murdered via this tool right here, right? But I'm not saying nothing to him, but he brought up something and he's looking at it like when we started speaking about it, he's looking at it like the problem of the world is in the inner cities. Like the people who live in the inner cities, basically saying, that we are melanated Moors, are the problem. And I'm looking at him like, nah, the problem is like really those who are not responsible with the tools you're looking at right now that you're dealing with. You know what I mean? But his perspective, being a crusader, like many of them have, they see us, and I'm not saying he's wrong, like things like we just cleaning and, nobody's done anything wrong, and I'm talking about collective. I'm just saying that as different beings sometimes see it different ways. So it's like you have a lot of our people who are on their alert and like, yo, look, these Europeans are not playing, and at the same time, the European is looking at you the same way. So I would say that, you can't always assume that they're not afraid, you know what I mean? Because for the most part, they are. They have a lot of fear, which is why they do. And the conquest intent, no doubt. But I'm just saying these are things that they have in place and perspectives they have. So they're looking at it like we're the problem. We're looking at it like they're the problem. But I think the European brother that you played at the beginning, the best, you know, that there's not going to be a resolve until they give back what was taken. That's remedy, or we, you know, step up and take our position, I would say as well. But, again, we're watching an adverse entity implode on itself. Like, so, again, these are some interesting times, and I wanted to yield the floor with that. Islam.
Islam.
All righty. I don't think. Oh, okay. We got another caller. Caller 773-619. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwestern Maximum.
Yeah, this is Brother Roscoe again. I think I was on a call last week, and somebody made an announcement about an honorary membership. I've been having a problem getting 2 signatures so I can get my nationality stuff situated. You know, even though I know who I am, I stand on it to early year.
Don't confuse honorary membership with the MST of A Canaan land with the process for your name correction and judicial notice and proclamation. They're two different things, 2 different locations. But if you have a problem finding a witness, just I can tell them the email is right, GSNAMA7. That's on the process. You know that email that's on the processing form that you have to send in with those.
Yes, I saw that.
Oh, you see the email GSNAMA7@gmail.com.
Are you talking about on the RVBey website?
Well, I'm assuming that you already printed down your proclamation and name correction and judicial notice, right?
Yes, I have it already printed out. I just haven't.
But you're having problem with witnesses. So with that process, that's on RVBey Publications, National Identification and Proclamation page, Section 13. There's a processing form that you need to print down and send in with those to the Connecticut location. And the email on that processing form, GSNAMA7, which is also on the site, you need to simply email them about the problem that you're having a problem with witnesses, and they will direct you. All right? All right.
And with regard to online membership, for anybody who is looking for online membership, you don't have to get the membership form signed. All you need to do is you sign it, send it in, and then we sign it after you sign it.
All right.
And then we'll send you confirmation that you're an official member.
Did you hear that, brother? Oh, I think
yes, I heard it.
Oh, okay.
I heard it.
Yeah. Oh, all right. All right. So if that's what you were talking about, then he just let you know what to do with that. All right. Yeah, they're 2 different things there, 2 different forms, processing forms.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for your call. All right. Well, that concludes our broadcast. Ross, what's happening?
We'll just tune in at 7:30 tomorrow for Wednesday for the Wednesday broadcast. I don't know. I got to make a phone call. I got a call to make as soon as we hang up. I couldn't get off the line to call that an urgent matter. So.
All righty.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. So for class tomorrow at the National Theater, please check the RVBey Publications website for who will be there or what will be happening.
Right. But those who are listening, those who call in, definitely they still, of course, call in. And they'll be on the front page in terms of that, the physical portion.
All righty. So with that, we shall see you back here next Tuesday, same time, same bat channel. Peace and love.
All right, Islam.
Islam.
Peace.
Islam, everyone. Love you all.
Our problem is lack of knowledge and the intended deceit and trickery done, because even those who read the bibliotelic that you call the Bible says he shall fool even the most believe. So even those who think they're highly educated and this and that, they've been fooled. That's it. It's not really complicated.
It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it to those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows except those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh.
The gods are back. The Moors are strapped. We waking up. And we want our land back, running off, that's a trap. You know them guys don't like that. Waking up from a nap, like where the hell my crown at? Take a step back, like I know this bitch ain't bite back. It's kinda crazy how this karma it strikes back. We enslaved Islam, so they slaved us right back. We called them niggas, then they nigga this right back. We brought them to light, but they ain't bring that right back. If I was lazy, dirty dancing with the baby, then just maybe won't revolt like Haiti. I too smart, Lova, Tor, Marcus Garvey, your ass. Nova, Julia, our leading God, body the man. Now I ain't gotta be bad, and you ain't gotta be mad, but the planet is heating up, so the first I'll be last. I got that melanin that's better than anything you ever medicine. We at your front door, wonder why you never let us in. Oh, I get it, you never wanted to put some credits in. Well, just forget it, cause I don't know if you can edit sin. We've been enlightened long before Thomas Edison. Skeletons to prove that you wasn't even relevant. In the Caucasus Mountains, cause the sun was your deficit. Captain Caveman with the plan of the Jesuits. Check my bloodline, but in time I bring the evidence. Self-governing body, so I don't need no president. Democrat, Republican, donkey versus elephant. I studied in law, so I ain't down with none of that. I self-law and master, so I'm running that. This Molotov counter burns faster, so I like the match. Despite the fact that ain't even what I'm mad at. I spit the truth, so here's the roof, so you can yeah that. My skin is brown and here's the proof, but you ain't hearing that. Dead in the eyes of the law, that's why they call you black. Naming all caps when you fall, that's why I strike back. And strike that from the record ab initio. You gon' need more than some pressure, I got a vicious flow. I can take the road to the high, or I can hit them low. Try to calcify my third eye, oh you gon' have to go. Chemtrails all over the sky, and you don't wanna know. Don't go inside of my tribe, they coming no more.
If you believe that your history started on a slave boat, I can guarantee you that's where it ended too. That's what I'm saying. Then, after saying that, and so don't believe me, go back and do some studies past the 1700s, and I'll guarantee you, sure as you're sitting there listening, or wherever you are, watching, listening, you will find nothing but the word Moor, and that's another thing. Because we weren't called black. That description, maybe, black or more or whatever, but that's it. Know the difference between a description and an actual, person, place, or thing now. I mean, really.
It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it to those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows except those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh.
From the pyramids to the project, the beginning is the part they want you to forget. Implant your memory with that noose around your neck. It's the king out for planning, it's set and full effect. The butler, the help, and 12 years a slave. Django and Selma, they get them accolades. They made a movie called Exodus about the gods and kings with an all-white cast from Egypt. Now that's a shame. They ain't never seen no movie about no European slaves. We were traveling the seas when they was living in caves. We had to civilize them, show them how to behave. In fact, we brought them light and taught them how to bathe. This is trading places with stolen identity. We agreed to be educated by our own enemy. Reverse psychology, I'ma need a lobotomy. An exorcism just to get this shit about me. Roz Mariah, Anna Eve, Miss Raheem, Tariq, Cujo from Cannonland. Listen to them speak. I done learned from the best. I don't need no DNA test. The nations in my womb has given from the breast. The empire's back, so you know what's next. The Moors are waking up, now you must confess. Yes, yes. The Moors are waking up, now you must confess.
Birthright theft. The whole deal was, where's my land that, for them, the whole deal was like, this is really quote-unquote promised land. This is really the quote-unquote heart of civilization. This is really what you might call Northwest Africa. That's what, and I say that to people so they can stop saying I'm going back to Africa and understand that they're in it. It's the Garden of Eden.
That's what they had in Columbus's journal, that they arrived in Eden.
So what has happened is absolute lies. That's right. And the land of milk and honey is another terminology. So these things are important because as you're doing studies, and if it says the land of milk and honey, you need to know they're talking about the North American continent. If you don't know that, then you miss it. And that's part of our problem. That part of our problem is the miseducation. We have been lied to, lied to, lied to, lied to, lied to, lied to.
Welcome to Staples.
Staples Guy, my New Year's resolution is to get new customers in the door.
Well, Staples has everything you need to promote your business. Signs, pens, mugs, you name it.
Perfect.
And right now, you can get 15% off custom banners and posters.
15% off? That's one resolution off my list.
Oh, how many were there?
Just the one.
Then Happy New Year.
This year, resolve to promote your business at Staples. And right now, get 15% off custom banners and posters. Staples. Make more happen.
Offer ends 3/24/17. See a Staples associate for details.